What's going on, workforce? Brian and Chris here, talking about Good Guy Blizzard. There's some interesting development news. In fact, this actually might be the video that we run sooner before the video about Limit Max. So you guys look forward to that as it relates. Because like you said, it could just be a passing breeze for Blizzard and positive news. Chris, I have been busy at work all day, but I did see that they've announced a new IP. Why don't you break it down for me and for all of those who might not be in the loop?
So for anybody that's been panning Twitch and sees that every person playing WoW calls themselves a Microsoft streamer now, Activision Blizzard is in the process of being bought by Microsoft. That'll close sometime in the next 18 months. Until then, it's not owned by them, but it is fun for streamers to go, yeah, me and Bill go way back. I don't think Bill's involved in Microsoft anymore, but you know, sure. I'm sure he's in the day-to-day Twitch streamer. I saw Llama Todd last night going, well, Bill should gift some subs. So Bill Gates, if you're here, go gift Llama Todd a sub. And the rumor around that is that like Bobby will step down once that deal is settled. That doesn't mean finalized. Usually there's a transition period. And so sometimes they get like a big payout, and that payout is based on performance or whatever. So like if it does well over 2 years, or if it integrates based on these internal metrics,
he's a billionaire.
He's gonna win. He's gonna get somewhere between 300 million and more, plus whatever he made before that, plus whatever his stock is worth. So like. So anybody worried about Bobby, he's fine.
He's going to have his billions of dollars, and he's going to go and retire with his golden parachute, you know, and you might call that disappointing, but it is the way of the world. And
he's going to be fine.
Oh, yeah. He's going to be just
The nice thing is if you never want to meet Bobby, then like me, just be the kind of person that will never be in the places that his 100-foot yacht is. Like I will never be able to afford to be the places Bobby is. So I never have to pass him in an airport because he's going to have too much money to be in the Southwest line with this guy. So that's good. Go. Bye, Bobby. Best of luck to you. And so Blizzard Entertainment has announced a new IP.
Woohoo.
Okay. It is currently, as far as I can tell, the most real working title from, you know, the fans of the company that put out Project Triangle Square. This title is called Unannounced Survival Game.
Ooh.
I hope they stick with it. I hope they carry that all the way.
They just dropped Unannounced, and they just call it Survival Game. Well, like how Project Triangle Strategy drops Project, it's called Triangle Strategy. So literally Unannounced Survival Game just becomes Survival Game.
You and I got the Project X Xboxes. So if they sell survival game versions of whatever this game is, like that's the collector's edition to get. It just has survival game on the box art. No portrait. But yes, the reason they put this out there is they're looking to hire people. And so they are ready to start. I think last week the CEO put out his letter basically saying like, we're sorry. I mean, he wouldn't land on a bear rug or anything, but he's sorry. And they're really proud of their people, and it's going to be the best people moving forward. And they're excited. It was all positive. It's all the right things to be said. At this point, I just want to see action. And this is something that's closer to action. They are working on new IP. It will be for PC and console.
Good.
Assuming the Microsoft goes through, that means this is day one Game Pass. So people are like, well, I don't want to buy it. Well, you don't have to. It's included in Game Pass. Yeah, that's really all we know about it. That's the extent of the good news out of Blizzard.
Blizzard's releasing a new IP, and how long? When was the last one? Overwatch, right?
I mean, soon TM, like Blizzard is like decade. Like
right.
they are like Final Fantasy. Was it 15? When did 15 start getting announced and released? Is it 15?
It was 10 years. Like it was 10 years.
10 years? Yeah. So like.
Same thing
like
with,
I think Diablo 3 was worked
Kingdom
on by
Hearts
like
3.
a studio that closed down and then reopened up, and like I think like Blizzard North or something like So this is not soon, but remember now they're going to be one of Microsoft's 30 in-house studios, so maybe things do come out. This from the makers of Halo Infinite that shipped an entire batch of Halo Infinite monster cans to a game that didn't have a release date. So like who knows? Game dev is hard. It is a world where delivering on time is the abnormality. So I don't really have any more than this. This is just a Blizzard announcement.
They announced an unannounced game.
This is on news.blizzard.com, and they are hiring artists, designers, and engineers.
So it's a recruitment.
It's a job posting.
It's a job posting. I was like, who announces an unannounced game? And I was like, is it leaked? Is this like, okay, that makes sense that it's like, okay, we're building this thing out. this is what we want to do. And that I think honestly that's great. Like if essentially if Blizzard can sit down and focus, I honestly cannot wait to see what the true impact that the Microsoft deal has. I know there's a lot of people actively frustrated and upset by it, but they were going to sell to somebody. Apparently the rumor is that they got turned down by Facebook, and Microsoft said, yo, we'll take you. And that'll be interesting to see, because it is a lot of interesting IP that carries a lot of weight, even though I've maintained the idea that it's been in managed decline for quite some time. Will this receive a revival? Will this, because for you, like you and I've talked privately about this, is that this is essentially what we both kind of wanted to see. We wanted to see a leadership change. We wanted to be able to say, like, that was a chapter and that has been closed, and now they're helping their people. They're giving the people what they need so that they can be creative and they can make awesome things with not only the IP that they have, but also I think one of the things we want to see is obviously new IP. And if they're bringing something like a survival game that people might enjoy, that's great. If they can figure out their Overwatch situation, I think that would be stellar, personally speaking. If they can figure out all of these like questions that have been asked about World of Warcraft, I think that would be a really good thing. I think, but I think it's all of these things are still going to take time, because Yoshi P didn't deliver Endwalker the minute he stepped into the office and took over the project, right? So it's that sometimes, unfortunately, the answer is you still have to wait and see. How much of this acquisition do you feel the community needed? Because you haven't gone back.
I needed a leadership change, and I didn't see how enough leadership were going to change on their own. And so if the California stuff didn't stick, I didn't see how enough people were going to leave to make me want to go back. And Microsoft coming in kind of does hit a bit of a reset button for me.
When does that?
This is a company with a lot of IP, right. So if I can get a leadership change, imagine if StarCraft is a fun franchise to watch and cover in some degree. Imagine if Diablo 4 is good, Overwatch 2 is good. Imagine if we get like 2 good WoW patches in a row on time that are good, like that nobody has anything bad to say about. Like if all those things happen, imagine if they do something fun with WoW Classic. Like if all that's happening at the same time, if I can feel proud of the company, which needed a leadership change for me, at something above the top. It couldn't just be Jab. It had to be somebody up there. Something about Bobby is moving. Something tells me that Ian is answering to somebody that he doesn't know. If not, he is replaced. Like something that tells me things are changing. Movement. Just movement for movement's sake. I don't even necessarily need the person to be better, which is a weird spot to be. Like I don't need them to be more qualified. I just need them to be different. Like that's just how upset I was. Yeah. Like just different. Just swap them out. And so like this does that. Mike put out his letter like 5 days before this, so this could be part of kind of a media blitz where like maybe this is the beginning of a campaign. Like we've seen that with companies before, that the way you win goodwill is you just overrun the news cycle. So if they have another announcement in 5 to 7 days, and another one in 5 to 7 days, and another one in 5 to 7 days, and then at the end of that, like we're looking at 9.2, and the 9.2 world first race is exciting, and like all of a sudden after 6 months, like we get so inundated with news stories that it starts to be like, yeah, WoW was bad. How come? I don't remember. Like I've heard so many good things in a row that I can't. It just takes the edge off.
So what's your return process look like? Because like one of the things that we've talked about multiple times privately is that Chris has like such a masterful knowledge of World of Warcraft. The one thing that has been different, especially compared to me, but you are definitely like somebody who I would consider an expert at that game and knowing about like so many different facets and aspects of it, but it's not necessarily communicated into us as content creators, because we both like started content creation and ended up obviously having a big focus in within the 14 community. But like you were playing WoW, WoW, but we weren't making content on World of Warcraft, and that is essentially what it is, which ultimately when all that kind of stuff blew up, it's like, woo. Like I'm like, all right, I wasn't enjoying the game anyway, but you did, and you do. Well, essentially you pivoted and
I
said,
like being around people that are experts, and so I've learned a lot. It has a very well documented community. So if you want to know about an aspect of WoW, like I know a lot more than a new player to WoW. I know a lot more than a dabbler in WoW, but I know nothing about any aspect of WoW compared to the content creators that are in the space. And so like I've enjoyed hanging out in streams. I've enjoyed YouTube videos, and like I've enjoyed being in some Discords, and like I've learned so much, and I continue to learn so much. And so the reason it's been hard to create is because like it's intimidating. It's a big space with a lot of talent in it. As opposed to like when we got into Final Fantasy, there are aspects of our videos where like when you put out controller guides, you were immediately some of the best controller guides because there weren't any. And so there's a huge advantage to that kind of insecurity when you look in the mirror and you're like, I bet other people's are better. And you Google it and you're the only person. So like there's nothing to compare you to. And so like, you know, some of my early macro and guild making guides, they ranked really well, and that gave me the confidence to get better at it. And as I got better at it, then I was confident just because I'm proud of what I did, even if it lines up against people who did it better. I'm proud of what I did, but I didn't start that way. And so like with WoW, it's always been something that I've struggled to want to cover. And it feels like every time I start to cover it, I'm like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to play for one patch cycle, knock the dust off. I'm going to pick a subject I know a lot about, and I'm going to make a very simple guide on it. And then I do that. And then something goes wrong. Something goes wrong with the game. Lately, something goes wrong internally. And like, it's not fun to cover a game when you're like, guys, I'm really excited to publish this video. And they're like, really? About the awful people?
About
like,
these monsters? Like, oh,
when
no.
I can go put out a 14 video and I don't get any of that. I get told I'm a moron, but I don't get told that the game is bad.
So
I don't get told that the game is, and so like, I have felt so bad for WoW content creators because I know sometimes when you and I critique 14 and we get all this hate, or we get something wrong with 14 and we get all this hate, like that already, it's not a fun day. You know, it's like today without a warrior buff. Like it's just a little bit worse. But at the end of the day, like I'm proud of the community and I'm proud of the game. And so I pick myself up, I dust myself off, and I go again. I have not envied the WoW creators that have stayed in there and have stayed loyal to this, to their communities. Some of them have been in a spot where like, I don't want to cover the game, but like I have a whole community of people that do still want to play. Like, do I keep covering it for them? It's like, it's been hard to want to make that shift. Yeah. So the question now is like, well, what would make me make that shift now? With End of Dragons, in theory, coming out next month, we don't have a date. With Lost Ark coming out next month, we do have a date. With Ashes of Creation on the distant horizon at all times, like what makes me throw WoW back in the ring? Some of it is actually like I already kind of feel defensive of it. I've seen a lot of people who have never played WoW at Cap bashing on WoW for current systems, and I've seen them say, and it's stupid, and then they and it's been in the 14 community, the Guild Wars community, it's all over the place. Yeah. And when they make these baseless comments, I find myself defending it. And I want to be sure I'm defending it accurately. And so like the new flying system is a little bit convoluted, but I haven't done it. And so I do find that some of me wants to cover it, but then some of me says, if I go back to playing it, I don't want to play it publicly, because there is a difference in me putting my own money and my own time into a game and me doing that publicly, which does send a non-vocal message to anybody that chooses to watch me that you should play this too. And like, I'm not that evangelical about it. So it's like I kind of want to play it but then talk about it, but I only want to talk about it like in this context. I don't want my gameplay to be public, because like I am not telling you how you should feel about WoW, because I'm just not that confident.
Right, because also the handover hasn't technically happened yet. We know that's going to happen here about 13 months or so. So that's going to be something ultimately interesting to see. So no judgment one way or the other. I just know that they've kind of hit their list of things that you were waiting to see.
I've always said, if you make a list, stick to your list. If you're just going to quit forever, just say that. But don't say, if you do these 3 things, I'll play your game. And then they do the 3 things and you move the goalpost. That's not fair. Yeah. I don't want to be friends with somebody that says, hey, and I'm like, hey, you know, I'm really passionate about this movie series. What would it take for you to come over and watch these movies at my house? And you're like, you know, honestly, like, I just can't. Like, if you cooked for me, I don't have time to cook. Great. I'm going to cook for you next Thursday. It can't be a Thursday. Okay. Well, what day? Fridays. Okay, cool. I will do a Friday of your choosing and I'll cook for you. But like, I also need you to have a chair, and then I need you to make dessert. And like, and you just keep moving the goalpost. And you need to make room that I can bring my friend. Oh, and I need to bring my dog. Oh, and you need to pick me up. And it's like, at some point, like, fine, forget it. Like, I don't want you to see the movie anymore, because you just kept moving the goalpost. If you'd given me that whole list at the start, that's fine.
Right.
But it's that, like, every time I do what you ask, you extend it. And that sucks. And so, like, I did say change in leadership. So I think this Microsoft deal going through tells me the next time they put out a game I want to play, I do want to play it. But you asking me while we're here live, like, what do I want to do as far as a content creator? That's a different ethical dilemma.
So hopefully you guys got some interesting insight into, especially kind of like, you know, just Chris's thought process as it relates to good guy Blizzard. And I honestly, as a gamer, always hope for good games. I hope for people and good development, you know, environments. So at the end of the day, like if this is a changeover that essentially gets good games in players' hands and they're happy, I think all the more. Having played Diablo 4, it's like, yeah, that was fun. I'm looking forward to whenever that comes out. Diablo Immortal, I could take a complete pass on it, but that's just how I function. One of the things I'll say before we wrap up the show, because I got to head downstairs, is one of the best type of comments or the best kind of semi you know, critique that I get that I love the most is when it's incorrect. When I state something factual and someone's like, no, actually it's this, and I'm like, no, actually. Here's the link, my friend. Like, I'm not sitting here making this stuff up. I know what I'm talking about. And yeah, we can get things wrong, but it happens no matter what. Like, there's always somebody out there that's like, no, that's like, Brian, you're incorrect. This is how it works. It's like, oh, am I now? Just like rub my hands and get excited to be like, well, I mean, here you go. Like, you know, it is what it is. Anyway, Chris, why don't you take us out?
Guys, I'm excited. It's a patch week. We've got good news coming out. It's just a minor patch, but we're ever closer to 6.1. Very exciting time to be an MMO player. What a beautiful and wonderful week. Be sure to come hang out with us on Twitch. If you've made it this far, you should be hanging out. Keep in mind, Brian streams on Fridays. If you want to watch his streams, I stream Monday through Thursday. And we are racing to Omni 90, and right now he is crushing me. So if you want to go watch a race where like one person is just wildly ahead of the other, come hang out.
But the thing that you got in your corner though is Lost Ark dropping on February 8th. Like there's things that I'm going to be leveling. So it's like I hit level 60 in New World and now I'm also playing that. So it's like, whoo, Brian, just focus and get it done. I should just
actually off next week.
Oh, good. Oh, thank good. Oh man.
My new editing computer arrives on Thursday. So I'm gonna take next week and get everything set up.
Guys, thanks for being here. You're awesome. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, sound off in the comments with choo choo bless you cheese balls, and we will see you next time.